The lawyer always know where to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss a wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday morning wake-up call. I'm sorry, your Saturday vitamins. It's too late for a wake-up call. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in once again. Please be sure to like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget that you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so with that all being said, let's see who all is in here. Hold on, give me just a second, beloveds. Okay, there we go. All right. Hello, Juju, Claudette, Love Christy, Decorate to be Aries. Lawyer is here. All right, let's get into it. Just anticipate. Songwriter Sunny. Songwriter Sunny, do not be deleting people's comments today. Okay? Please do not, moderators, this goes to all of you. Please do not delete anyone's comments unless they're saying something inappropriate. If they're saying something that you just don't like or that you disagree with, that is not a reason to delete their comments. Okay, thank you. All right, so daughter of y'all clothing purple, hey beloved. All right, 504 Nola is in the virtual building. Michael M is here. Deronda, Bookhorse DC, Mr. Elevation, Lillian X. All right, let's get into it. Queen Amoni Huey, Goodness Rated Bo. So shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Tony Montana, and everyone tuned into the Queen Original Pure Black. Okay, so let's get this party started. And shout out to my moderators, because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, Yvette, did I skip you? Okay, so here we go. Hold on, I'm sending one more thing. I have to send one more thing to my email. Give me just a second. Okay, so now let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about this new dark skies law that they're talking about implementing into New York. Okay, everyone, please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And also, hold on. Okay. And also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. All right. Now, so let's get into it because they're talking about cutting the lights out early in New York. What's really going on? I find this all interesting, and they're talking about light pollution. Okay, so let's pull up the clip. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Skies in New York become a lot darker. There's chatter on social media this week that a potential new law would force you to shut off outdoor lighting after 11 p.m. Is that really true? We shine a light on the rumor in tonight's Fact Check. A bill to regulate outdoor lighting? Social media is abuzz that New Yorkers will soon be left in the dark.
New York lawmakers want to make it illegal to leave your outdoor lights on after 11 p.m. and homeowners can be fined for it.
So is New York about to regulate when you can keep your porch lights on? Here's what we uncovered. Indeed, there is legislation under consideration. Assembly Bill 04615. It's called the Dark Skies Protection Act. According to the bill, it's intended to protect wildlife, conserve energy, reduce our carbon footprint, and preserve views of the night sky.
It's just about trying to limit the light pollution that we're all experiencing.
Assemblymember Deborah Glick from Manhattan is the sponsor of the legislation.
This started with people complaining about not being able to see the night sky. But the bill just requires shielding light and having it directed downward.
Non-conforming light fixtures would have to be shut off from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. unless they are motion activated. The bill lists lots of exceptions, including lighting for highways, airports, emergency services, and worker safety.
There are sporting events or concerts, and till those are completed, they're in progress. Nobody is saying you have to shut the lights off at 11 o'clock when you're still engaged in the activity.
Certain landmarks like Times Square could also apply for a special exemption. And your holiday decorations, well, they'd also be exempt. How would you enforce this? And what would be the penalties?
There are no fines. It is really about encouraging the Department of Environmental Conservation to provide educational material to raise awareness.
Right now, there's no telling if the Dark Skies Protection Act will see the light of a full vote. But as to whether lawmakers are considering it, that's a fact. The legislation did pass the Environmental Conservation Committee by a vote of 20-9. Local Assemblywoman Jen Lunsford voted in favor of it. Assembly members Andrea Bailey and Brian Manctilo voted no. You can read the bill yourself. I've attached it to this story on our website, WHEC.com.
Okay, I find that all very interesting. I find this all very interesting, don't you? Because first of all, what in the world is light pollution? Because that's what they're talking about, light pollution. Okay, so I'd never heard of it. Maybe you had. Excuse me. But so I looked it up. And here's what it says. Light pollution is the excessive, misdirected, or inappropriate use of artificial light at night, creating a sky glow that obscures stars and wastes energy. Say what now? No, they say it impacts 80% of the global population with key types, including light trespass, unwanted light on property. That's what that is. It's called light trespass. Glare and over-illumination. It negatively impacts human health, ecosystems, and wildlife behavior. Who knew? Now, I'm sorry, but this all sounds very suspicious if you ask me. Okay, nice MTMK said, nice light pollution is real clean. Well, I know it's real. Didn't I just literally say I looked it up? Now, with that all being said, I hate when y'all try to tell me stuff that I already know. Now, with that all being said, here's the thing. Since when do they care about light pollution? And if they're so worried about light pollution in New York and talking about shutting down the lights at night from outside from 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., what if they start implementing that everywhere? What if they start implementing that everywhere if it does pass, if the law does pass? But why are they even considering it? I'm just wondering if this has anything to do with that power grid. Are they getting us ready for the lights to go out and be sitting in the dark? I don't know, because I don't put anything past the devils. This just all sounds real out of the blue for me. This just sounds like so random. Ha! Claudette said, darkness, anyone? Okay, are they taking us back to the dark ages? That's right. Just Anticipate said, what about water pollution? Wouldn't that be a whole lot more interesting and more, significant for them to be concerned about? Please pay attention. Please pay attention. I find it all interesting, but we shall see, because I just think something might be afoot. Okay, but anywho, I just wanted to talk about that because I thought it was a little bit suspicious. And, they talk about the major causes and sources are unshielded outdoor lighting. Yeah, okay. Now, with that all being said, before we get into this whole thing about Erika Kirk and how she's threatening to sue Druski, which I find so hilarious, okay, and clearly nefarious. But before we get into that, exactly, Dark Tube said air pollution. Okay, it's a whole lot other pollutions, a whole lot more pollutions that's more significant than light pollution. So it just sounds, ridiculous to me. But anyway, like I said, I'm just worried about that power grid, because Trump's already been talking about it. Now, that being said, let's talk about how Iran is trolling Trump. Okay, how they're trolling Trump. And, the reason being is because, some people think Iran started this, but quite frankly, I told you all months ago that the White House on their social media, they've been posting AI generated videos just bragging about stuff. Remember the ICE videos that they were posting, talking about they'll take people out of here, ICE and all this and that. And then they started posting about the war. Well, now, since Iran is trolling them back, their videos that they posted, their AI generated videos, just seem so childish and just mundane, quite frankly. Okay, and so I'm going to do a comparison, but before I do, let's go to this song that they did. It's called Loser, and YouTube better not even think about giving me a copyright claim, because the person who created this video already said that we could use it on YouTube. All right.
Yeah. Cross the ocean just to find your granny. Sacrifice your own boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Yeah. Make America great again. Yo, Tails, this shit crazy. Yeah. Make America America great again now. We will see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. Why you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil? You first who ran the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Take the ash of defeat. Fighting in your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common day is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the head, common day again. The secrets are leaking, the pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. The slaughterhouse is open. Common name can. LOSCR.
Wow, did y'all see that? And at the end, it said you will find that you made a grave mistake by choosing to attack us. Okay? Did y'all see it? That was fire. Okay? That was absolutely awesome. Okay? A real banger. Now, but here's the thing. Pay attention to the subliminals. They basically are telling him you acting like you want to change a regime. And then even though you killed Khamenei, there's another one. We put another one in the lead. Okay? So you ain't really changed nothing. And you're a loser and you're losing this war. Okay? They were daring him to come through the Strait of Hormuz. You saw the ships being blown up, all the dead bodies. They're telling him the blood of these soldiers and everybody who dies in this war is on your hands. Absolutely amazing and genius, if you ask me. Okay? Absolutely. And then showing him and Satan Yahoo as puppets and the devil, Satan himself, holding them up. That's who they work for. Okay, they're saying this is who you are. You're minions, puppets of the devil himself. All right, I want y'all to pay attention. But hold on. Hold on, because there's more. I want you all to see these other clips. Okay, hold on just a second. Juju, no, they didn't say the N-word, honey. Now let me pull up this other one so you all can see these. This is a few of them that I put together. Okay, let me pause right there for a second. Nice Simpson K said that was amazing. Trump is a loser, 100. Of course he is. And he's also losing this war. Okay, did y'all see Netanyahu came out yesterday? Basically admitting defeat. Okay, I mean, their army's falling apart, their military, it's collapsing. I told y'all that on yesterday. They just can't keep up with Iran. And Iran said they're readying 1 million soldiers. These people need to pack it up and go home, okay? Sending 10,000 more troops just to have them end up dead or injured is just ridiculous, okay? It's absolutely nefarious. All right, so thank you, Nice Simpson K, for your contribution to the channel, beloved, and your insight into the topic. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Hey, Nicole. Nicole says, keep us informed, Queen. You know I will, beloved. And thank you for your contribution to the channel and your kind words. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now, before we go to the next clip, let's talk about it. Now, this clip right here is the one where you'll get to see what the White House, okay, has been posting. Ha! They need to sit down at this point because clearly they have lost the war of trolling. But here's the thing. In that first video, now I know I showed that to you all days ago, but I showed it again because let's talk about it. Okay, so we see that they had the Native Americans, okay, they had the Native looking up, and then because remember, the genocide that was committed upon the Native Americans of this country, okay? Then let's not forget, with the smallpox blankets, y'all know what I'm talking about. And then let's not forget they showed Japan. Now, why is that significant? They showed Japan because here's the thing. It's really, this video to me, that first video was basically holding up a mirror to America. Okay, because for one, it paints America as the terrorist. It shows how they did the natives. Okay, it shows how they did Japan. And the thing is, America or Trump and Bibi Netanyahu are trying to act as though Iran is someone that we need to watch and should make sure they never acquire nuclear weapons. Guess who's the only nation that's ever dropped a nuclear weapon? Oh, that's right. It's us. It's the United States. Dropped it on Japan. Okay, so with that all being said, they don't have room to talk. It's all looking like projection. And that's basically what they're letting them know. So y'all dropped a nuclear bomb on Japan, but now y'all want to talk about us and point the finger saying we're the ones that are terrorists. We're the ones everybody needs to watch. We're the threat to the world, but they're really not. Okay, they're really not. Also, they showed Vietnam. Okay, so they went over there with the Vietnam War, which they lost, by the way. Afghanistan, another war they lost. They came, they left, and everything was still the same. The Taliban was still in charge. Okay, and what else? Epstein Island. You saw the little girl standing in front of Epstein's temple, okay, on Epstein Island. They're talking about, you all don't care about kids. You killed these little girls over here in this school. You've been doing this stuff with Epstein Island. And then the very end, when they show the Statue of Liberty with the face of Ball, you're no longer represented by liberty and freedom and truth or justice, all the things they try to promote to the rest of the world. You're represented by the Epstein class, which is what Iran has been calling them if you've paid attention. Okay, you're represented by the Epstein class who worships Ball. That's who you bow down to. Okay, and so that's who they see when they look at the United States. We don't see, liberty and justice for all. We don't see that. We see a terrorist regime, okay, who has committed genocide, okay, and who has bombed people with nuclear weapons. All of the things that they're accusing Iran of, America has already done. Who are the real terrorists? That's basically what they said. But let's continue.
Here we go again.
You first were in the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising.
Now this is the White House. Okay, this is their stuff on the White House's page. Their AI generated videos.
Wake up, Daddy Shum. Welcome home, son.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
What will you do without freedom?
Mavericks inbound.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to Casada, you the only one to blame.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the one that the U.S. made, like I said, it greatly pales in comparison.
Breaking fuck the news, Iran has dropped another diss track video in Lego form. It's 2 minutes long. I'm about to show you a snippet of it here. This is a screenshot from the video.
Now notice what they're painting on that missile. It basically says in memory of the girls of the Epstein victims. I think it says the Epstein victims, and they painted about the girls of Manab at that school. Okay, so they keep reminding them of that and keep reminding Trump, you can't hide. We know all about those Epstein files, and we know that you started this war just to try to distract from that and cover it all up.
1 second. Now, if you all notice, let me remove that. Okay, now, if you all notice, clearly there was more references there, but the missile that Iran shot at the end, the Fatah missile, F-A-T-T-A-H. First of all, Fatah means conqueror, okay, like victory, triumph. All right, so they call Trump a loser, and they're saying they're going to have the victory in the end. Okay, please pay attention. And then also, that Fatah missile is no joke. It's like basically unstoppable by their interceptors. Okay? And very accurate, by the way. Okay, so anyway, J Money said, I can tell Iran to call Barron out. You know, speaking of him, you know he's upset, right? You all do know that Barron has been watching social media and seeing all of you talk trash about him, saying that he needs to go over there. Why don't they send Barron over there to fight in the war? And he's very upset, to say the least. That's what he is. He is very upset. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Erika Kirk, because Erika Kirk's very upset too. And so is the rest of MAGA. Okay, so is the rest of MAGA. So let's go to her post. This is what she posted in response to Druski's video where she claims that he's mocking her. But mind you, here's the thing. Druski never said her name. That's how smart he is. He never said her name. Now, even though we can all look at it and see who he looked like, he never said her name, okay? That's what he didn't do. And he basically titled it Conservative Women, How They Behave. Okay, so anyway, she's clearly a hit dog hollering. So it says, this is racism, plain and simple. If a white person did blackface, every single person defending this would be screaming for their career to end by tonight. But because it's Druski doing whiteface, dressing up as me, copying my features, my makeup, my mannerisms, and turning me into a full costume, suddenly it's just comedy. No, he took it too far. And the people glorifying it are exposing their own hypocrisy. Oh, beloved, sad to say, but the only one exposing hypocrisy is you, boo. Okay, Erika is exposing her own hypocrisy. But let's continue. Let's continue and go to her second post. And here she is again complaining about how she'd be called a racist. I mean, she would have been better off not saying anything. But if I did blackface, I'd be canceled and called a racist. Okay, not canceled. Anywho, and then Ted Cruz, he chimed in and he had something to say. Like, Ted Cruz, sit down somewhere. Okay. Here it is right here. Find it all so nefarious. I mean, why are they so mad? MAGA's literally having a whole meltdown. Y'all see this? Ted Cruz says, beneath contempt. Ah, that's what he said. He said it's beneath contempt. You know, sorry you feel that way. Not. You know, the thing is, these people feel like they can talk about anybody they want to, poke fun at anybody, and nobody's supposed to say anything. And then there's the problem. How dare they try to compare that to blackface? Okay? Nessie X says, hey, Queen, thank you for these videos. I really appreciate you. Well, I really appreciate you too, beloved. Okay? Thank you for being a member for 14 months. Now, M10K's nefarious self says, in the words of Barron's name, I don't really care. So tired of all these Karens and clowns and their victim complex. It's annoying and pathetic. It absolutely is, beloved. Okay, thank you for that insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. You know, it absolutely is pathetic. Okay, because like I said, these are the same people, you know, that they feel like they can talk about anybody and nobody's supposed to say anything. That's just how it goes. But, you know, I did a TikTok about it yesterday, and so did other people. And so we're going to look at some of these TikToks, including mine. All right. Now, that all being said, because MAGA, you know, they want to try, they love any occasion to play the victim, but that's constantly what they accuse us of. And then they further go on to act like, you know, they're being victimized, like we're oppressing them. Think about how Erika Kirk said when she was all teary-eyed, don't you ever, to the young men, especially the young white male men, don't you ever let anyone disenfranchise you. When have they ever been disenfranchised? Make it all make sense. It all makes sense.
Let's talk about how angry and upset MAGA got because of Druski's skit about Erika Kirk. Let's get into it. Now, first of all, let me say that blackface has historically been used against people who look like me to shame us, humiliate us, to just basically mock us, okay, in a nefarious way, used by racist people who do not like us. They've used it in movies where they didn't want to pay actors who look like me, but also to further demean our people. It has historically been used against us in racist tropes and different things. So with that all being said, you cannot compare that to what Druski did. Okay, in fact, what Druski did isn't even called whiteface. It's just called a skit. Okay, please pay attention. You know, it's nothing more than selective outrage, if you ask me, because depending upon who does it and who they're doing the skit about, there's nothing said. At the end of the day, nobody seemed to get so upset and have all this backlash when Marlon Wayans and his brother Sean did the movie White Chicks. Okay, everyone thought it was hilarious. And also, let's not forget how they imitate people every single week on Saturday Night Live. Okay, please pay attention. And pay attention to how loud they were with their outrage and disdain and the backlash for Druski. But they didn't have that same energy about the Epstein files or even the possibility that our president may possibly be a whole PDF file. Okay, I'm sorry. Please make it all make sense. That's what they should be upset about. But we heard nothing. Okay, we got nothing from MAGA. What do y'all have to say about that? Then as I read some of the online comments, you know, you had some of the MAGA talking about how people like me, we love to play the victim. We don't have to play the victim or the race card that they love to accuse us of doing. You see, we don't have to play the race card because we didn't start this whole thing about race, and we're not the ones who make everything about race. In fact, we never even came up with the construct of race. Guess who did? It sure wasn't us. So how could we play the race card? You know, at the end of the day, isn't that always the hand that they give us? And the second thing is talking about how we play the victim. We don't have to play the victim because we are the victims. We're the victims of oppression. We're the victims of chattel slavery. We're the victims of Jim Crow. We're the victims of police brutality and all of the rest. And I also find it interesting that the same people so upset about the skit are some of the same people who made memes and jokes about George Floyd when he passed away at the hands of Derek Chauvin. Okay, please Pay attention. And also, if we are in fact playing the victims, then so are they, because they were the ones talking about, oh, this is reverse racism. Oh, if I did this, then you would say I'm racist. And then whining and crying because someone did a skit. I'm sorry. How is that not playing the victim? Please make it all make sense. But I'm sure they could never. Forgot I was muted. M10K says, I meant to type, I don't really care, do you? I knew what you meant, beloved. I figured it out. But thank you, okay, for your clarification and for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings, okay? Now let's go to what iHip News or podcast had to say about all of it. Here we go. Hold on, let me put an overlay over this. Don't need any copyright issues.
Sitting there with them from top to bottom. They believe in nothing. There is no conviction. They wouldn't stand up for anybody. All they know how to do is play victim. I support Druski. These white women that go and triple Trump and that worship Erika Kirk and want their sons to be like Charlie Kirk are a fucking cancer. I love the MAGA meltdown for this. I am here for it.
It's always when you put up a mirror to what these people act like, that is when they're upset. While they're doing it, they don't care. And I will just say, we are not the only people taking notice of the bizarre behavior. You see the Arkansas chapter of, University of Arkansas chapter of Turning Point USA has withdrawn and made a statement that they no longer represent the values, citing Charlie would have done this, Charlie would have done that, said that they see the use of his death to profit. So we are not in isolation sitting over here in liberal world. This is happening all over because the behavior is in such stark contrast to normal person behavior. And I use normal loosely because of how I behave, but you don't behave the way she has behaved and immediately tell people, be a trad wife, I'm going to run the company. Don't go to college, get a husband. It's the hypocrisy with this woman and just the whole fakeness. I just can't take it.
Well, and I love the way Druski expanded it to she is representative of conservative Christian women. I mean, this is,
Absolutely.
I mean, Pumps, you know these women.
I was this woman at one
intimately
point.
well. I mean, friends groups that, on their stories, long live Charlie Kirk and, all of this stuff. Erika Kirk is representative of a virus among white women that claim that they care so much about the world and they go and vote against their own daughters. But listen to this. I love MAGA on MAGA crime a lot. And here is Candace Owens. And they're all like huge Christians. She's starting to call a sect of MAGA Christian grifters, as though she's not one. But play the clip.
Recognize all across the world that something's not right with Erika Kirk. And your best guess, if you were, just trying to extend the most rope to her, you would say maybe she didn't love him. Maybe she just didn't love him. She didn't even like the guy. They're fighting in the end, and that's why she's just like, okay, whatever, I don't care. We were on the rocks or something like that. But even if you were a friend of his, you'd be reacting differently. Everything's wrong. And that is why comedians have picked it up. Comedians like Tim Dillon, comedians like Joe Rogan, and like Druski, who has dropped an absolute viral video kind of mocking more broadly conservative women. And sort of, I kind of picked up on it this year too, so I'm going to back him up here. But this sort of Christian grift, but it doesn't really feel like Christianity that we're looking at. Anyway, let me...
Okay. All right. And then she plays the clip and she sits there and chuckles with it. But this is a huge, the dam is breaking there, that she says this type of Christian grift, like this is a fissure that is really phenomenal. I think Turning Point USA is going to be bankrupt, and it should be. Turning Point USA is so incredibly diabolical to go into colleges where people are exploring critical thinking, open-mindedness, free thought. And Charlie Kirk would go and sit there and spew racism. He said,
he certainly did. Okay. And for any people that say he wasn't racist, they just sound ridiculous. Okay. Especially people who look like me who say that he isn't racist. Now, Ashkan Hamanti, I hope I said your name right, beloved, says Misakar equals reverse racism. Right. That's what they're saying. But they say that we play the race card and we play the victims, when clearly that's exactly what they were doing. They were all whining and crying. Like, why are y'all mad?
Okay, why are y'all mad? Please sit down somewhere. But hold on, because there's some more people who had something to say about it. And here's the thing: the fact that she wants to sue Druski is really interesting to me because of this. She wants to sue Druski, but hold on. Let's remember this moment in time.
I forgive him. My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life. That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man.
It's always interesting when I hear the devil quoting scripture. And also, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Not that they not know. Okay. Now, with that all being said, she forgave Tyler Robinson, the man who took Charlie Kirk, her husband's life. She can forgive him, but you're mad at Druski? You're mad at Druski? Girl, please sit down somewhere. You make no sense. Okay, she makes absolutely no sense. But let's go to what a few more people had to say. And then we're going to get into the nefarious history of blackface and how it has historically been used against us. Okay, please pay attention. History lesson today, folks. I find it all so interesting. MAGA is really having a whole meltdown after all the nefarious things they do. Please.
The nerve to be mad at Druski right now over his parody of Erika Kirk. I mean, these are the same people who support Donald Trump, the guy who mocked Paul Pelosi getting beaten, the guy who just the other day said he's glad that Robert Mueller is dead. Yeah, him. Republicans are perfectly okay when Donald Trump says heinous things like that. But when Druski, a comedian, a huge influencer, makes a comedic video about Erika Kirk, then apparently the line is crossed. It's too far. It's not funny. I mean, I thought they were the make comedy legal again crowd, and now they're snowflakes who are crying in their safe space. I mean, these Republicans and their double standards and their hypocrisy is quite frankly pathetic. Republicans.
And he's absolutely right. Okay, they're acting like a bunch of snowflakes. Grow up. Okay, y'all can't take a joke. I mean, they should all be mad every week at Saturday Night Live, like I told y'all. Let me put my overlay back up for Mr. Lemon. Even though I'm a lemon head.
Snowflakes are melting down. You know why? They're ticked. Because you know Druski the comedian. Druski the comedian had someone white chick him, meaning, you know, the Wayans movie, like white chicks, and he had someone do that. But his version of white chicks bears an uncanny resemblance to Erika Kirk. And it is, I have to admit, it's really funny, but the MAGA folks are ticked off. The very same people who wanted to bring back the R word. I want to be able to say the R word. I can't, nobody can say anything. Everybody gets canceled. You can't even be a comedian anymore. Why aren't you letting comedians be comedians? And now they are ticked because this is some biting cultural commentary about Erika Kirk. Now, about, well, MAGA women, but it looks like Erika Kirk. But so Erika Kirk is putting herself out there. Whether you like it or not, she's in the public eye, and that's what happens when you're in the public eye. And now they're pissed off saying, you could have waited, her husband died. Why is it different when it's Charlie Kirk? Why is it different when it's one of you? Come on, MAGA. Stop being the snowflakes that you claim the Democrats are.
Exactly. Okay, he said, and grow a pair. Exactly. Okay. Like, make it all make sense. What's good for the goose is good for the Druski. As Don Lemon said.
Reason folks mad at Druski is because the shoe fit a little too well. Druski didn't do a skit. He actually did a documentary. Because whoever did his fake makeup didn't just beat his face. They like built a whole character like IKEA furniture. Every piece lined up. Every like angle correct. The face, nailed it. The body, Nailed it. It's like this upside down triangle thing, but he nailed it. I was sitting there watching like, I have seen this before. Matter of fact, I done seen this at Walmart, Target, all these places. But what makes it even more funny, right, is watching conservatives be outraged by this. Because y'all been dragging Erika Kirk for months, dragging her like a carry-on suitcase through the airport. But now suddenly jokes hurt. Oh, so it was funny when y'all was doing it, but now it's not funny no more now that he shined a light on it. And whoever is doing Druski's makeup and all those other things, bravo, bravo. Because that wasn't a skit. That was accuracy with the wig on.
Okay. I mean, the makeup was chef's kiss. You can't deny. Those eyes and everything were on point. And this is why they're mad. And this lady is absolutely right. She said it was okay when they were going in on Erika Kirk, and which it was. Okay, in which it was. Ryan says they murked Captain Kirk. Okay, beam me up, Scotty. Yeah, they absolutely did, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, it's okay for them to do whatever, but it's a problem for anybody else. That's just the thing. But now let's talk about blackface, because they tried to say, what he did was whiteface. Well, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Okay. That was just a skit. Now we know blackface is nefarious. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the history of it. The history of blackface is deeply tied to racism, minstrel shows, and the systemic marginalization of Black people. Okay, let's get into it. How could they even compare? Blackface emerged in the early 19th century in the United States, around the 1820s through the 1830s. Now, it was primarily used in minstrel shows, a form of entertainment where white performers painted their faces black to caricature African Americans. Okay, now, that's what they did. They made fun of us. These don't look like actual Black people that you'd see every day on the streets. These are caricatures, okay? These are caricatures of Black people. Now, with that all being said, Druski was trying to be very accurate with his depiction of her. That was no caricature. And so anyway, with that all being said, these performances often portrayed Black people as lazy, ignorant, superstitious, hypersexual, or buffoonish, reinforcing these racist stereotypes and tropes. Now, popular performers included Thomas Dartmouth, also known as Daddy Rice, known for his character of Jim Crow, which was based on exaggerated and demeaning depictions of enslaved Black people. Okay, now with that all being said, and we already know that the whole thing with Jim Crow, the segregated South, and all of the things that Black people had to go through. Okay, it's all tied to that. So how could they possibly think that any of it is the same? How could they possibly feel that they have the right, the audacity, dare I say, to compare the two? There is no comparison at all whatsoever. Okay, none whatsoever. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say that with the rise of cinema in the early 20th century, blackface transitioned into movies. Okay, for examples, The Birth of a Nation, which came out in 1915. So let's talk about it. Now, I live in Atlanta, okay? So with that all being said, I know the history of that movie, Birth of a Nefarious Nation, okay? And that movie is rooted in racism, okay? That movie is rooted in racism. Now, with that all being said, this movie was made after a very significant event happened in Atlanta, Georgia. So let's talk about The Birth of a Nation. 100 years ago, D.W. Griffith's epic silent film, The Birth of a Nation, stirred up both immense racial hostility and cinematic acclaim. The movie's denigration of Black people and the glorification of white people after the Civil War will again be in focus, okay, in a public screening. I want y'all to pay attention. So they replayed this not too long ago when this article was written, which was in 2015. And they showed it at Embry Human Rights Program. Now, with that all being said, Griffith's 1915 movie based, and just to show, that just further goes to show they still want to show this movie. Like they wanted to show it was like the 100-year celebration of it. Okay, because they played it April of 2015 when it came out April of 1915. So they still celebrate this movie, okay, with blackface. So how can she compare the two? You can't. Now, Griffith's 1915 movie, based on the 1905 novel The Klansman, ran nearly 3 hours in length. Okay, the Dallas Faces Race series event, when they had this in 2015, it featured selected clips from the movie. And they basically used the Klan. Back then, they used this movie to recruit people for the Klan. Okay, so, and the movie was very successful, wildly successful is how they describe it. Okay, so I want you all to pay attention, but let's talk about something else that's tied to all of this, that's even more nefarious than just a simple movie, Birth of a Nation. You see, there was a little girl, and that little girl's name was Mary Fagan, and she lived here in Atlanta, Georgia, and she worked for a man whose name was Leo. Now, Leo Frank was one of those people that are related to Epstein, Weinstein, and Satan Yahoo. With that all being said, he owned a factory downtown on Peachtree Street. Little Mary Fagan, at the age of 13, worked there. And on one Saturday, she was going to pick up her paycheck, and she never made it back home. They found her body days later. She had been brutally R-worded and murdered. Now, people were suspicious and immediately cast their eyes on Leo Frank because, of course, her family knew that she was going to the factory where he would be, likely by himself, and to pick up her check. He was the last one who saw her. Now, of course, he denied all of the allegations and tried to pin it on a black man. But a black man who worked there, and I believe he was a janitor, he was the star witness in the trial. Now, I want you to pay attention to something. Think about the time. This was in 1913 when this happened. Mind you, that movie was made two years later, okay? But this was in 1913 when this all happened. So this is during, a time when this country was very racially divided, okay? This was a time when Black people were frowned upon and all of that. So keep that in mind when you think about how nefarious they must have thought this man Leo Frank was for them to take the word of a Black man over him. Because they took the Black man's word and he was tried and convicted and sentenced to death. But then he took his case to the Supreme Court. Later, a judge ended up commuting his case. He lost at the Supreme Court, mind you. That's how compelling the evidence was. Now, here we are in 2026. There are people like Leo Frank who want to say and portray him as having been innocent, and as though the Black man was really the culprit or the co-conspirator. Specifically, they want to blame it on the Black man. Okay, just like that movie Birth of a Nation that conveniently came out 2 years later with a white person in blackface depicting a Black man trying to R-word a white woman as he lusted after her. You see how the narrative changed? Because ever since that movie came out, they started painting Black men as brutes and people who R-word people and lust after white women. That's where that stereotype came from, that movie. Okay, it was really the birth of a nation. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip, because I'll tell you who doesn't believe that Leo Frank was ever innocent. Mary Fagan's family, who still reside in Georgia till this day. Some of them, and they absolutely still feel that he's absolutely unequivocally guilty. So there were other young ladies who testified at the trial, and they accused him of lewd and lascivious acts as well. Okay, so likely why they pretty much believed the Black man when he said that it was Leo Frank who had done this. Okay, but let's go to this news report about the whole situation that came out about 6 years ago. And they actually spoke to the family, a family member of Mary Fagan's, and I want you to hear what she had to say. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Murder from Georgia's past comes back to life. The tragedy of Leo Frank and Mary Fagan is revived when the Fulton County District Attorney began to form what he calls a conviction integrity unit. Many may recall the details from 1913. Even today, little Mary Fagan raped and strangled in the factory where she worked, last seen alive by factory superintendent Leo Frank. His trial roiled the nation with hatred stoked by race, gender, and religion. When the Georgia governor commuted his death sentence, an angry mob kidnapped him from prison and lynched him in Mary's hometown of Marietta. Tonight, Mary Fagan's namesake reveals to CBS 46 special assignment reporter Sally Sears how it affects her life to this very day.
It won't go away.
Mary Fagan Keene has lived with her namesake's horrible death since she was 13.
My science teacher in 8th grade, Mr. Henry, said to me, "Are you by chance related to that little girl that was murdered in Atlanta?"
And that is when the pain of being Mary Fagan's heir began. The boys in her class teasing her about being a murder victim reincarnated. She went straight back to her father.
"Is it true that there's another little Mary Fagan?" And I swear to you, he stood back and turned whiter than whiter could be and said, "Who told you that?" And he said, "Tomorrow when you go back to school, you tell Mr. Henry that, yes, you are related and you are the namesake and great niece of little Mary Fagan."
The infamous trial and later lynching of Leo Frank are captured in the neat files in her bedroom. Yet a century of doubt about Frank's guilt is here too, and in the Georgia archives where the Leo Frank story lives on. I found here photographs the New York Times staged but never published, showing an alternate theory of the murder. The staging shows a model of Mary pushed down a hole into the basement, knocked unconscious, attacked and strangled by Leo Frank's so-called accomplice, Jim Conley, the star witness against Frank.
My great-grandmother and great-stepfather were at the trial every day.
Mary Fagan Keene recoils from these photographs. Convinced of Leo Frank's guilt, she is wondering if her own research into the case was worth publishing.
I have the DNA in me, and when I have questions about it, I'll go to Mary's grave and ask if I am to get involved. And I always receive a sign that tells me yes.
Her confidence leads her to protest the district attorney opening this case again.
I think I would be very sad if they exonerated Leo Frank without the Fagan family involvement. But then I will push the world to know that we weren't involved in it.
It is hard to imagine, after a century of fascination with this case, that the world will ignore her voice. I'm Sally Sears, CBS 46 News.
Now, another nugget: the archives hold a haunting message that Sally Sears will explore tonight at 11.
Now, with that all being said, she absolutely believes that man was guilty, and he was guilty. That's why he was tried and convicted. His case was never overturned, okay? It was never overturned. They have never exonerated him because he absolutely did it. That's what he did. Now, mind you, people like BB Satan Yahoo. First off, let me read Ashkan Hemati's comment. Says, "Let's gloss over the fact that there was a 13-year-old working in a factory." Exactly. Okay, where were the child labor laws when we needed them? Okay, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And so with that all being said, here's the thing. These people came out with a movie. I want to say it was sometimes in the 90s or early 2000s, but they did a movie about this. Okay, made by people like Leo Frank. And in that movie, they made it seem so sad, and that he was falsely convicted and that they lynched him after kidnapping him from the Milledgeville jail for nothing. It was really the black man who did this. It wasn't Leo Frank, but it was Leo Frank. That's why he was tried and convicted. Now, people can try to rewrite history, change, and paint narratives all they want, but the fact of the matter is the facts are the facts. And here's the thing. If you doubt his guilt, think about what happened to her. She was R-worded, okay, and then murdered in a factory. What was Epstein doing on that island? I'm sorry, but in my opinion, Mr. Leo Frank was a man of Epstein's own heart. That's what it was, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, See how that was tried to shift, they tried to shift that story onto the black man and make him the blame. And so then, like I said, 2 years later, conveniently, that movie comes out. Now, the man who made that movie, I did my research on him to find out if he was one of Bibi's people, and he is not. But here's the thing. His name is D.W. Griffith, and though he was not one of those people, he was, however, very close with a prominent family of those people. Okay, and he actually worked with them and helped, and they were very prominent and influential on him. And so they basically helped to foster his literary interest. So what I'm saying, literary interest, they helped to foster his literary interest. They're the ones that told him to write that. They're the ones that told him to make that movie. That's what that says to me. They fostered his literary interest. Yeah, they're the ones that told him to do that movie. Because he was a filmmaker. Okay, please pay attention. They always get somebody to come and sweep up the dirt. And when I'm talking about I'm talking about predatory people who do nefarious things to minors, children. Okay? Now, so with that all being said, listen, I am going to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I encourage everyone who isn't a member to please subscribe to the channel. Okay. And also, listen, I'll be back later. Am I going to be back later? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I may not be back later. It is Saturday. Okay. But the next live, which I'll definitely be here in the morning, okay, with your morning wake-up call, we're going to be talking about the war updates and how Trump is sitting here telling all these lies, acting like, I want you all to pay attention. See, here's the thing. Trump wants us to think that we're winning the war when we're literally losing pathetically, okay? And then him and Keg's breath, okay, they want to sit there and paint this whole fictitious narrative. Oh, they're destroyed. We obliterated their Navy. We stopped their air defenses. Now, remember what I told you all when they said they stopped the air defenses? I said, okay, well, we better not hear anything else about another missile being flown or launched. Okay, because y'all said y'all did everything. Y'all said y'all pretty much took them out. Trump said one day, there's nobody left to shoot at us. Well, if there's nobody left to shoot at you, you've obliterated their Navy, the air defense is gone, they can't really do anything. Why the hell are you sending 10,000 more troops? Why are you still talking about negotiations? I thought the United States said we don't negotiate with terrorists ever. And I thought that Trump said that Iran was the terrorist. See, that's how you know it's all lies and BS. Okay, these people are not terrorists. They've never started a war. Okay, it's always the U.S. and Bibi and them that do these sorts of things and then try to pin it on other people. And think about how they've tried to demonize, specifically Satan Yahoo. He's literally tried to demonize Iran for 40 years. He said it himself. I've been waiting for this war for 40 years. Why was he so anxious? Anytime there's trouble in the Middle East, guess who started it? Bibi. Okay, isn't he the cause of all of it? Like, please make it all make sense. And then he wants us to feel sorry for him when they talk about what's going on in Tel Aviv. He wants us to sit there and feel bad for him when he tries to accuse Iran of war crimes because they use cluster munitions. And he says, oh, they're doing this to civilian communities where little children play. First of all, Bibi, let's not talk about the villages that you've destroyed with children and people in it, civilians. Okay, let's not even talk about how the U.S., yeah, the U.S., did y'all know that they bombed a whole village over in Iran? Did y'all know that? Yeah, they did. That's what the U.S. did. We already know what they did with the school, and they tried to say that it was not intentional, but it absolutely was. Those were the daughters of some of Iran's soldiers. Okay, so please, miss us with it. At the end of the day, the real terrorists, sadly, is us. The call is coming from inside the house, or should I say, inside the White House. Okay, please pay attention. Now, we're losing this war. Trump wants to sit there and act like everything's going fine, but you would not be sending more troops. You would not be doing all of this stuff. And also, let's not forget, if Trump was really winning, why hasn't he taken over the Strait of Hormuz? Why aren't they going through there? Because they're losing. Okay? They're losing. And then they lie about everything. None of it makes sense. They want to act like the fighter jets, the aircraft wasn't shot out of the sky. Okay, it just something happened and it fell. They want to act like the ship caught on fire by accident, something in the laundry. No, you're losing. Just accept your L and bring the soldiers home before you cost any more innocent people the loss of their lives. Okay? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ham said the enemy within. Exactly. Sadly, but true. So anyway, with that all being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Each one, teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Hit him with that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got